Josh Johnson of the Marlins and Tim Hudson of the Braves. Johnson is the ace of the Marlins staff and had the best ERA in the National League last season. Hudson was the National League Comeback Player of the Year in 2010, leading all Braves pitchers with 17 wins and making it very apparent that he is indeed back. So tonight, it's an old-fashioned pitcher's duel. Which ace will come out on top? Braves, Marlins meet again from Turner Field. It's another beautiful night for baseball in Atlanta as fans begin to file into Turner Field for Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Florida Marlins and the Atlanta Braves. And all season long, Atlanta Braves baseball on Fox Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price. And good evening, everybody. Along with Tom Glavine tonight, I'm Joe Simpson. Glad you're with us for what promises to be a really good pitching matchup. Tim Hudson going for the Atlanta Braves against Josh Johnson of the Marlins. And Tommy, Josh Johnson, for those who don't know, is establishing himself as one of the better right-handers in the game.
Yeah, he really is. Kind of the epitome of what today's starting pitcher is. Big and strong, throws hard, good slider that he uses for his strikeout pitch, and kind of a modified split-finger fastball that he uses as his changeup, and has been working on kind of that Livan Hernandez slow curveball, so we'll see how often we see that tonight. And on the other side of the ledger, Tim Hudson, boy, I mean, Braves fans, what can you say about this guy other than how consistent he's been since he's come back from Tommy John surgery? Power sinker, real hard slider that he uses for his strikeout pitch, and a good changeup as well. And, you know, he's just been the guy that really has gone out there time and time again for the Braves and given them an opportunity to win ball games. So it should be a fun matchup, should be a low-scoring affair. So having said all that, there'll probably be 15 runs scored.
Well, you wouldn't expect many runs to be scored, but certainly one guy who's off to a good start offensively here in 2011 is Chipper Jones. He reached one milestone earlier this week. He's closing in on another. Tonight, maybe that mark will come into fold, too, for Chipper Jones, and we'll talk about him when we come back. three-game series between the Marlins and the Braves. Joe and Tom back with you, and we were talking about Chipper Jones when we went to break, and Chipper's certainly climbing the ladder on a lot of franchise marks. In fact, he's the subject tonight of our Georgia Lottery, hitting the jackpot, second only to Henry Aaron in games, hits, and RBIs, third in homers, fifth in batting average, on the way, I think, to a Hall of Fame career. But what was it like for you knowing he was playing behind you every day?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a pleasure to have him behind you. I mean, look, Chipper obviously gets a lot of accolades for the offensive numbers that he puts up, and rightly so. But I'll tell you what, defensively, he was as solid as anybody back there. He made all the routine plays, made tons of spectacular plays, and quite honestly, for me, as a left-handed pitcher, he made so many good plays on that little dribbler down the third base line. I still think in today's game he makes that play where he comes in barehanded and throws it to first base on the go as good as anybody in the game. So with all the right reasons, he gets the accolades offensively. But I'll tell you what, don't underlook the defense and what he brings to this team and this pitching staff up with his glove every day.
Well, one more RBI for him tonight gives him 1,500 for his career, and that puts him in some pretty select company. Last night was a big night, a lot of long balls, a couple of them, one from Jason Hayward, one from Brian McCann. Some great pitching, but some outstanding defense. Hopefully that'll carry over tonight as the Braves will try to make it 2 in a row against the Florida Marlins. We'll be back with first pitch right after this. In part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by the Georgia Lottery. And as we've been telling you, a gorgeous night for baseball here for Game 2 of this series. And Tim Hudson on the mound for the Braves against this lineup for Edwin Rodriguez and the Marlins. Same as last night, Chris Coughlin, Omar Infante, Hanley Ramirez at the top of the order, Stanton the cleanup hitter, then Morrison, Sanchez, Dobbs, Buck, and Johnson. Got a little scouting report from Mike Stanton of the Marlins on what he thinks he'll have to face tonight.
Those power sinkers, you can't get too jumpy. If it starts right down the middle, it's going to come, in off the plate. So, you really got to select your pitches wisely and know that he knows what he's doing, and you better know what you're doing too. So, just be patient and kind of take what he gives you.
Pretty good scouting report there from the kid.
Sounds fair to me. And oh, by the way, if you do all those things, you still have a hard time squaring it up.
Yes, you do. Tim's 2-0, 184 ERA, as you see. 4 starts against the Marlins last year and went 1-1 against them. But a good lifetime mark of 9-3 against Florida. And his first pitch of the game to Chris Coughlin. Umpires for tonight's game. Mark Wegner's behind the plate. Chris Guccione at first. Mike Winters, the crew chief, is at second. And Mike Everett, who did a great job behind the plate last night, works at third. Coughlin had a couple of hits last night. They were both infield hits. One a bunt down the third base line, and the other a swinging bunt down the first base line. One and two. Coughlin hitting .227. That looked good.
Sinker down and away. Just tailed off the plate a little bit. Let's see if Huddy can get that call.
Ripped into right center field. That's going to get down and be extra bases all the way to the wall. Coughlin at second will hold up there, and a leadoff double puts a runner into scoring position right away for the Marlins.
Well, that pitch right there, you can see Huddy was kind of trying to go back down and away, and threw that one a little bit more down the middle. You can see that reaction there tells it all. It tells you pretty much what Huddy felt of the execution on that pitch. But it's kind of like what Stanton was talking about. You just got to stay patient and hopefully get Tim to either miss location on the plate or miss up. And in that case, he missed down the middle of the plate and able to hit it in the gap for a double, which is no surprise for this Marlins team. They're hitting a bunch of those.
And no surprise from Chris Coughlin against Tim Hudson either. Omar Infante does what he does so well, and that's get the runner over. Gonzalez had to hurry to get him. One out. Here's the defense tonight for the Braves behind Tim Hudson, and these guys were all outstanding last night. The outfield of Prado, McLouth, and Hayward. Nate made a terrific play up against the center field wall. Jones and Gonzalez on the left side, Ugla and Freeman on the right. The battery, Hudson and Brian McCann.
I think last night's game was kind of the recipe that I know Freddie's looking for. I think Braves fans are anticipating just good, solid pitching, very well played game defensively, and some timely hitting, and a few homers by the big guys in the middle of the lineup.
Hanley Ramirez jumps on the first pitch and bounces a single to center. 1-0 Florida. That snaps an 0 for 7 for him, and he has his third RBI of the year. And this is a little bit like the first two starts for Tim Hudson. He gave up a run in the first inning against Washington. He gave up 2 runs in the first to Philadelphia.
Like a game plan I was fairly familiar with, but I mean, sometimes for a sinker baller, you get out there that first inning, you're trying to figure out how much the ball's moving, how well you're locating, and that wasn't a bad pitch. I think that was just a case of Hanley having a guy in scoring position and came up, made up his mind he was going to be aggressive, and went after the first pitch he saw and was just able to keep his hands inside the ball and got a base hit of it. I think he's probably looking to just get a ground ball, put it in play right there and score the run, but got the added benefit of a base hit.
And he likes to run, so Hudson holds him close. This is Stanton. Mike Stanton 2 for 4 last night. This Florida team's a doubles machine. Stanton had a double last night. They've had at least 2 doubles in every game. And the double by Coughlin here in the first inning, the 32nd already for the team. They lead the National League in that category by a pretty good margin over the Diamondbacks.
A lot of good young hitters in this lineup.
One on one.
I know Braves fans, obviously, with the Marlins being in their division, are probably a little bit more familiar with this team than a lot of folks around the country are. But for people who don't get to see this lineup very often, it is full of good young talent and a good nucleus of players to build around.
Aggressive hitters, too. 1-1 to Stanton. Might be 2. Another good turn, another good pick by Freddie Freeman. Hudson gives up a run in the first, but a double play gets him out of it. Braves coming up in the bottom of the first. And here's the lineup that Josh Johnson faces tonight for Atlanta. Prado, McLeod, and Jones at the top of the order again, followed by Brian McCann and Dan Ugla. Hayward had a home run last night, then Gonzalez, Freeman, and Hudson the lower third. Josh Johnson on the mound, 27 years old, 6'7", 250 out of Jinx, Oklahoma. 1-0 on the year, 46-22 in his career, and as Tommy said, throws hard, has a hard slider, has a changeup that is pretty good, and then that lollipop curve that I guess is something new he's working on.
Yeah, you see a few guys throwing that around the league now, where you try to get that range and speed as much as you can.
Martin Prado takes a strike. Martin 2 for 4 with a double last night. Has hit in 6 straight. Hitting .298, a homer, and 5 RBIs. Out of play.
I think if we do see that slow curveball, I think what it'll do is, I mean, you think about it, if you're a hitter and you're trying to time location and speed, and you've got 60 or 94 miles an hour on the high end and maybe low 70s on the other end. That's an awful big range to try and cover. So we'll see how often he uses that pitch, like we said, if at all. And my guess would be he'd use it early in the count to try and get ahead.
Martin took a little time before he got back in the box. We'll keep an eye on him as he fouls off another one. Johnson blinded right now on the mound with the sun shining through the lower levels of Turner Field. 1-2. Toward the hole, but nice stop there by Sanchez. And a nice recovery, 1 out. Nate McLeod gave us the scouting report on Josh Johnson. Here's what he had to say about him.
He's got electric stuff, throws hard, got a really good slider, and he locates the ball well. And when you got all those things, you're going to be pretty tough. And he's shown over the past few years that he's absolutely one of the best.
Sure Nate wasn't in the clubhouse listening to our pregame?
Could have been.
He could have been, right? And then we just kind of found some old footage where he had his BP uniform on.
He had a good night last night, 1 for 3 with a double. He also put down a good sacrifice bunt, made a good play defensively. Just a good all-around game for the Braves last night. Their best all-around game so far on the year. Tom, this guy's fastball, that one was at 94. You see Hansen, who returned to form last night. Most guys these days are trying to find some way to create some movement. A little sink, maybe a little cutter or something. This guy's fastball seems to stay on plane. He's so tall, but he just kind of stays on the same plane to the corners.
Yeah, he's kind of the guy that when you hear people say you're trying to stay tall and throw downhill, I mean this is kind of what they're talking about. He uses every bit of his 6'5" frame and tries to throw downhill with that power pitch. And I think where he tries to mix hitters up is going from low in the zone to high in the zone.
Again to Sanchez. He'll handle this one himself. 2 out. And here's the rest of the defense for the Marlins tonight. Their outfield of Logan Morrison, Chris Coughlin, and Mike Stanton left to right. Around the infield, third to first, Dobbs, Ramirez, Infante, and Gabby Sanchez. And your battery, Johnson and John Buck. And here's Chipper looking for one more RBI. He's the 1,500 mark in his career. One for 2 last night. .308 average, 8 RBIs. And that's pulled to the right side, but foul. Let's take a look at our Sunshine House leaderboard. Here's something pretty amazing about Chipper so far this year, Tom. 43 plate appearances. He hadn't struck out yet.
Well, I mean, I think that's two things. Number one, he's feeling good at the plate. But number two, Chipper's not going to let you get deep in the count if he can help it. He's going to look for a pitch early on that he can put in play. And I think that the fact that he's not striking out tells you that he's feeling good about where he is. He's feeling good about his swing, so he's going up there aggressive, looking for pitches early in the count to try and do something with it.
That one just missed. 3-1. Chipper's 9 for 30 in his career against Johnson. And he walked it. Runner at first, 2 outs for Brian McCann. Everybody in the lineup last night had a base hit among the position players, including Brian, who had his first home run of the year into the Braves bullpen.
Had a little bit of a struggle in the homestand so far, but certainly had a good game last night with that home run. Hopefully that'll get him some confidence, get him going a little bit.
Home run last night off of Volstad. Ed Hayward's at 433 feet. I'd say McCann's went about that far too.
Well, those are the ones that, if you're a pitcher on the mound, they always say if you're going to give them up, make them good. Those two are pretty good.
They were. Bit of a shift on for Brian. A little different type shift for him by this club than we saw from the Nationals and the Brewers. But Infante out in shallow right. Hanley Ramirez near the bag. Out of play. Both of these pitchers working tonight, and we've been talking about what aces they are on their staff. And they've both already had Tommy John surgery. You know about Hudson's back in August of 2008. Johnson's was in August of 2007. Out of play. But there was one story I read about his Tommy John, or something that led up to it. There was a game in 2006 in which he came back from an 82-minute rain delay, Tom, to pitch. Joe Girardi was the manager then, and his elbow trouble started shortly thereafter.
No surprise. That's a long time to wait.
Struck him out with a good slider. He walked one, but he left him at first. We played an inning, 1-0 Florida. And time for our McDonald's fan of the game. I have a feeling you got those batting gloves from one of the big leaguers. They fit so well.
Yeah, either that or Dad took up to the sporting goods store and has no idea what size his hands are.
Logan Morrison leads off for the Fish, 1 for 4 last night. He's been hot, 7 for his last 17. He's averaged at 324.
Freddie is not rooting for a line drive hit at him right now.
I would say not. And maybe the worst part is that even if you put shades on, then you can't see home plate.
I wonder why they have. I mean, that's been an issue here for years. I wonder why they don't put some kind of backdrop there. You can
put
drop
some
down
drapes
for a
up,
while.
just some for an hour or so. To Ugla. 1 out. Talked about the first inning problems for Tim so far in his first 3 starts, but after the first inning, Tom, he settles in.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, if that trend continues, then you can assume he's going to pitch a pretty darn good game the rest of the way. But, like I said, first inning, I mean, it's always a feeling out process, and particularly for a sinker baller, you got to figure out what your ball's doing and where it's going.
Gabby Sanchez, the batter, 0 for 2 with a couple of walks last night. He's also hitting 324. Tim's son, Cade Hudson, is here at the ballpark tonight and celebrating his 6th birthday. And his dad wanted to wish him a happy birthday. One and 2 the count. That evens the count at 2 and 2. Greg Dobbs will follow Sanchez. don't think Freddie saw that. He got a bad jump on his crossover step, and that ball gets through for a base hit. And look how muddy he looks after that.
Yeah, maybe they got that infield watered down for Hanley Ramirez and some of these other guys that they don't want to steal bases. Yeah, you're right. That first step, it looked like he was running in quicksand.
And he was also he was leaning left, and I just don't think that he saw the ball. So we can tell Sanchez that that's what he has to look forward to in the bottom half of the inning. Greg Dobbs was 0 for 1 with a walk last night before he was pinch hit for.
Had the tides turn on him a little bit. He's usually pinch hitting for guys.
That's true, but he won a job with his work in spring training. As he put it, he said, when I was pinch hitting for the Phillies, I was pretty much just a guy who's looking for something to hit out of the ballpark, yank it down the right field line at Citizens Bank Park. So he's tried to get back to his old way of hitting. And so far, so good. 6 for 12 in the regular season.
Yeah, he's a guy that, I know playing against him, you see him as a pinch hitter that, exactly that. I always wondered, why doesn't this guy get an opportunity to play every day? He seems like, obviously a good hitter. Seems like he's got a good swing. And, now maybe he's finally getting that opportunity to see what he can do with it.
And he yanks that one through the hole. Sanchez will hold up at second. Runners at first and second for the catcher, John Buck.
Well, Huddy's getting the ground balls, but they're finding the holes. And, I think you can see a little bit of his frustration right now. And he's working down in the zone, but right now that ball's catching a little bit too much of the heart of the plate. And, guys aren't hitting it hard, but they're with the mislocation right there. They're able to find the holes a little bit more, obviously, than Tim wants them to. So, see if we can get another ground ball here at somebody.
Yeah, from the catcher, who hit into one last night. A 5-4-3 double play. Off the glove of McCann, and that will be a wild pitch as it bounced up there, and that takes away the double play ball. Not a whole lot Brian could do with that one.
No, I don't know if that was a sinker or a slider. It's hard to tell. In any event, I think that pitch was thrown with kind of the thought process, I'm gonna start getting out of the middle of the plate right here, make an adjustment, and made an adjustment a little bit too far the other way.
Two 2-0 with the pitcher on deck. And Josh Johnson's a pretty good hitting pitcher. He's got 3 career homers.
He is, but you still obviously want to take your chances with him if you need to with that first base open. I don't expect Huddy to give in here.
And he doesn't. Runs the count to 3-0. They're going to put him on, and they are. And that'll load him up for Johnson. Johnson throws right, bats left. 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts so far on the season in his first 2 starts. But he's a big guy with a bat in his hand.
He's not an automatic out up there, so you definitely have to approach him like he's a hitter.
And he finds the hole. Same spot. 1 run is in. And Dobbs will be held at third base. They're still loaded, and it's 2-0. And Johnson jumped on the first pitch, and he's got his first hit and RBI of the year.
Same thing there, trying to go down away. Ball drifted back over the middle of the plate, and that one was up a little bit more than some of the other pitches he's thrown, which for Josh Johnson is obviously to his liking. And as a pitcher right now, you're kind of banging your head against the wall because you're getting the ground balls, which you obviously want, but with the lack of location that Tim wants right now, I mean, those balls are finding holes. So
comebacker would be nice. Coughlin doubled his first time up. That's a breaker for a strike. Five hits already for the Marlins, 3 this inning. Down the line past Chipper. That'll get another one home. That's going to get 2 runners home. 2-run single for Coughlin. He's 2 for 2. He's driven in 2, and he's already scored a run. And just like that, it is 4-0.
We saw strike one. Huddy tried to mix it up a little bit and get away from that first pitch sinker and went with a backdoor cutter, and looked like he tried to double up right there with the same pitch. And again, kind of the same thing. It caught a little bit more of the plate than the first pitch did. And Coughlin was able to sneak it past Chipper down the line.
RBIs 4 and 5 for Coughlin, and here's Omar Infante, whose batting average with runners in scoring position over the last 2 or 3 years is as good or better than anybody in baseball. Grounded to short his first time up to move a runner over. In the air to Hayward, but he's got room. Johnson will not tag. And there's 2 down. Well, it pretty much puts some weight on the shoulders of your offense because they're going to have their work cut out for them against Josh Johnson under any circumstances. But spotting the Marlins 4 runs makes it tough.
Yeah, you don't. Obviously, you don't ever want to get out early like this and spot anybody 4 runs, but it makes that, like you say, a much more daunting task when you're facing a guy like Josh Johnson. And look, you just got to try and right the ship right here and realize that it's a long way to go, and you just got to keep pecking away.
Check swing, and the appeal down to Chris Guccione, who says he went 0-1.
Like you said earlier, Joe, these guys are a very aggressive hitting ball club, and I think they've made up their mind even more so against Huddy that he's going to throw that sinker. We're going to look for it early in the count where we think we can do something with it and not let him get deep in the count where he can start picking corners or throwing into the dirt or getting to that slider. I think the flip side for Tim, where he's had trouble, it seems like every time he's tried to locate the pitch away, it's kind of drifting over the plate. I guess, the logical adjustment is you're going to start trying to pitch in more or maybe go to that slider a little bit more so you can make that margin for error on the outside part of the plate a little bit more in your favor, because right now he's not getting away with it.
1-1 to Ramirez. Ugla to Gonzalez, who was a little surprised on the backhand there, but he got his foot on the base for the out. The inning is over, but not before the Marlins cash in 3 more runs. 4-0 Florida.
TV, brought to you by Jameson Inn, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction nationwide for 6 straight years. Experience all the comfort and amenities you expect at an unexpectedly low price. Jameson Inn. Live large, pay less.
4-0 Florida here early in this ball game. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. And a reminder that Delta Airlines is a proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves. Ugla, Hayward, and Gonzalez due up against Johnson. Dan was 1 for 4 with a double last night against his old club. Dan's average of 167, couple of homers, 2 RBIs. Tom, I mentioned that he had the Tommy John surgery. Josh Johnson did. He's come back strong from that. He's 30-11 since that surgery. But one of the things I'm told he discovered was that when he started going through his rehab process, 3-0, he thought he was in pretty good shape until he started rehab, and he realized he wasn't. And he really dedicated himself to continue to get into good shape after he was ready to throw again.
I think a lot of guys find that once they start going through the Tommy John rehab, particularly not only for their general body, but their shoulder. And I think that's the problem that a lot of guys have coming back, is there's so much work they do with their shoulders.
Good cut there, full count.
But, there's, like I say, there's a silver lining in everything. And for him, you don't ever want to have to go through that surgery if you don't have to, particularly with the rehab and everything. But, if it was kind of a wake-up call for him to work a little bit harder and get in better shape, he certainly paid attention.
Dan giving him a good battle here. Still 3-2. Line down the right field line with slicing foul. Johnson pitched well against the Braves last year in 3 starts, but he had nothing to show for it. He was 0-1 in the 3 starts with a 1.50 ERA. He only gave up 3 earned runs in 18 innings with no wins.
Yeah, the Marlins have lost the last 3 games that he's pitched against the Braves, which would be hard to imagine.
They off pitch again, line right at Dobbs at third. Good at bat for Ugla, but he comes up short, and Hayward will be the batter. Jason's hit in 4 straight games, including his home run last night to straightaway center. He was 1 for 3. On that fastball that missed. Here's the home run last night. That had such a nice sound to it, Tom, that even John Buck behind the plate, he didn't even come up out of his crouch. He was just kind of like,
just kind of watched.
That one's hit hard to right field. There's Mike Stanton. So 2 hard hit balls in the inning, but 2 lineouts.
Jason had a good swing on that one. I think he got in just a touch on him.
I think he got that front foot down quickly, though. And if they were trying to run it in on him, he got the barrel down to it. Here's Alex Gonzalez, 1 for 4 last night. He's hit in 4 straight. A homer and 2 RBIs for Alex. And some defensive wizardry last night.
Yeah, there's all kinds of talk today on the local radio stations about his defensive play last night, and You know, just the Braves, like we said, the game overall, just the defensive play and timely hitting. It was just a solid ball game last night.
One and two. I think Alex liked that call. Chased a bad ball there, and that'll retire the side. Braves go in order. Second strikeout for Johnson. He leads 4-0. And time for our know-how question from Home Depot. And it comes from Stu Barron in Atlanta, who wants to know the difference between a wild pitch and a pass ball.
They're all pass balls as far as I was concerned.
Sure they were. But we can show a wild pitch that occurred actually earlier tonight. This ball in the dirt. Wild pitch, Stu, is one that is obviously a bouncer or one that sails over the top of the catcher's head that he can't flag down. A pass ball is one that, in the official scorer's opinion, is a pitch that the catcher should have caught that didn't bounce or sail to the backstop. And yet he still didn't corral it. 0-2 to Stanton. Line, one hopper. Oh! Nice play on the short hop. Alex has got some leather working.
Cool as a cucumber when he makes that play. Man, oh man. I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what. That's just having good trust in your hands right there. Nah, I mean, there wasn't much he could do with it because he wasn't going to get to it. So.
And you certainly don't want to get in front of it.
No.
Logan Morrison led off last inning with a ground out, but that was not a sign of things to come. Maybe in the ground ball side it was. 4 ground ball hits in the inning for the Marlins. And a long drive here from the man they call Lomo. That's long gone. Five to nothing. You said it, Tom. They got some good-looking young hitters.
Yeah, they do. And, this pitch right here, again, Huddy trying to throw that backdoor slider. Kind of came over the plate just a little bit, and he didn't miss it.
Gabby Sanchez a hack and a miss. Pitch was down too. I mean, it wasn't a pitch that he missed up around the belt or anything. But they're getting some good swings at him.
They are, and you know, it's that backdoor cutter is a tough pitch, especially when you're a guy who's pitching predominantly away, and you've got hitters thinking away. That, you know, even if they're going out there looking for a sinker, and you throw that backdoor cutter that catches more of the plate than you want, you're catching the barrel of their bat, and they can flip it.
Well, I've heard so much about the cutter these days, and guys, it seems like everybody wants to throw it. Can you tell us, show us how to throw one, or what?
I can try. I didn't exactly have a very good one myself,
but how different the grip is from a normal fastball?
It's not a whole lot different. I think, you know, primarily it's however guys throw their fastball. So if it's a two-seam fastball, then primarily all you're trying to do is just get onto one of the seams and kind of hold the ball a little off center. And rather than when you throw that pitch create backspin, you're just trying to create a little bit of a side spin. So really all you're looking for out of a cutter is about a 6-inch break. You're not looking for that big break like you have out of a slider. And, you know, that was a good pitch right there for strike 3. But I think that's the whole premise behind the cutter is if you think of the ball and you're kind of in the middle of the ball, like I say, whether it's a 4-seam fastball or a 2-seam fastball where you're trying to get backspin, all you're doing now with a cutter is you're just a little bit off center so that axis is less here and more kind of tilted, and you're just kind of getting the ball to run.
But you're not really breaking your wrist or anything, or trying to put spin on the ball as much as you're just kind of coming across it.
You're putting a little bit of spin on it. I think, again, if you're thinking in terms of a fastball and you're coming down through the ball with your wrist and creating backspin, now you're coming down through the ball at a little bit of a tilt on your wrist and creating side spin. And it's a tough pitch to throw. I mean, everybody tries to throw one, and like I said, for me, it was a really, really tough pitch to throw. There were times where I had real good feel on it, and others when I didn't. But the guys who have good ones, you notice it, and everybody watches them pitch and just goes, "Man, I wish I had that pitch." But it's not an easy pitch to throw.
Is it that much different from a slider in terms of your arm action?
No, the arm action is very similar. All you're doing, like I said, is rather than, if you think of your wrist in terms of pulling down a shade when you're throwing a fastball where you're coming down through the ball, it's just a slight little tilt on the wrist and you're still coming down through the ball, but because you have that tilt in your wrist, you change the spin.
A ball and 2 strikes to Dobbs.
And the tendency that a lot of guys have is they try to power the pitch, and when you do that, you spin it more, and then it turns into more of a slider, and then it's tougher to locate.
Change up down the line, long run for Prado, but out of play. One in the first, 3 in the second, and a home run here in the third from Logan Morrison. 48 pitches already for Tim Hudson. Another 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Backhanded by Ugla. Inning over. Solo shot by Logan Morrison. Adds another run. It's 5-0 Fish. Braves have got to get their bats going, trailing 5-0 as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Here's our AT&T U-verse trivia question tonight. All right, Tommy, let's go to work here. Hanley Ramirez's .407 average against Atlanta was second best against the Braves last season. Who was first? Well, there's only about 350 players to pick from.
Yeah, right.
So.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably not somebody you would think. So Albert Pujols is out.
Speaking of Ramirez, he throws out Freddie Freeman. Only one base runner for the Braves so far, and that was a 2-out walk to Chipper in the first. I don't know. I immediately go to the Phillies and go to Jason Worth. Well, I don't think it was Utley because he was hurt a lot
last
year.
He was hurt too much.
Carlos Ruiz might be a good pick, though. Tim Hudson 0 for 6 so far on the year with a walk. And another good hitting pitcher.
I think the key for the Braves right now is you're not going to get 5 runs back in one swing of the bat. They got to try and peck away, get one here, one there, and even with the score the way it is right now, Josh Johnson does not look like he's totally satisfied with what he's doing out there.
He looks a little uncomfortable, but things are beginning to feel a lot better when you get a 5-run lead. His last start against Washington, he went 6 innings, 4 hits. Gave up only 1 earned run. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 6 but got no decision as the game went extra innings. Bullpen gave up some runs late and he got a no decision. Martin Prado grounded to first, his first time up. Johnson was 11-6 last year, 2.30 ERA, but even going 11-6, there were 7 blown saves in games where he left with the lead.
What was his record at the All-Star break? Wasn't he like 10-2 or something like that?
Yeah,
going into the break.
Then they shut him down late because he had some back issues. We'll get Laser Baker on that. Gets Martin on a good breaking ball. That's 4 strikeouts for him, and he's cruising with a 5-0 lead as we go to the 4th. second inning. He had a big hit with this base hit down the third base line. That plated a couple. It might have been a double if the pitcher weren't running in front of him.
Oh yeah, always getting on the pitchers.
John Buck, the catcher, leads off the fourth. Drew an intentional walk, scored a run his first time up.
I think the task for Huddy now is twofold. Obviously, he wants to try and stay in this thing as long as he can and still give the Braves a chance to win, but also try to figure something out here so he can get some sort of rhythm and some sort of feel so he's got something to build on going into his next start.
Two hopper to Alex. One out. And Johnson, part of the 3-run rally in the second inning, as he had a base hit to right and drove in a run. It's been a while since Tim's had this kind of game, Tom, where he's allowed runs in each of the first 3 innings. May of 2008, 57 games ago.
I was going to say, I don't think I can remember watching a game since Huddy's been here with the Braves where he's had an outing like this.
Especially since his surgery. Right back to him. Make him run it out. 2 down.
It's not too late. Braves prorated season ticket plans are still available, starting as low as $4 per game. Become a Braves season ticket holder today and get great benefits like player meet and greets, stadium discounts, on-field events, and more. Visit Braves.com or call 404-577-9100.
Way to go, rookie.
Thank you. Right, because I didn't have time to think about it. He just threw it at me and said, here, read this.
Coughlin 2 for 2. But a 1 pitch out here, and that's what Tim needed, was a fast inning, and he gets it. He gets him in order. Braves still down by 5. All season long, Atlanta Braves baseball on Peachtree TV and Fox Sports South is being presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price. Along with Tom Glavine, Joe Simpson with you from Turner Field, where Florida leads at 5-0. Braves looking for their first hit. They'll have the heart of the order. McLeod, Chipper, and McCann due up here against Josh Johnson. Nate grounded to first in the first inning. You got a 5-run lead, kind of easy to pound that first pitch strike in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, right, and especially right on that part of the plate. I think that might have been his first slow curveball of the game.
Might have been. And it's only slow by comparison to everything else he's throwing.
Exactly.
Boy. 94 at the knees. Nate thought it was a little low.
It's hard to tell, but it sounded good.
Yeah. Two and two. Strikeout number 5 and his 3rd in a row. Time for the answer to our AT&T U-verse trivia question. Who had the highest batting average against the Braves last year?
Center fielder, Cardinals. What's his name? Rasmus?
For the Cardinals?
Yes.
That's a good one. Oh!
Hey!
Oh!
Sorry about that.
Where have you been?
Home watching.
Wow. Way to go. That just upped our average. Chipper walked his first time up. Man. It's out of play. By the way, Rasmus's brother pitches in the Braves organization, Corey Rasmus. And even though he got shut out last night pitching for Lynchburg, he had a good night, struck out 9 in 4 1/3 innings.
Yeah, well, throw the loss out the window. 9 punch outs in 4 innings will catch somebody's attention.
Big swing by Chipper, 2 and 2. And Johnson sitting right on 94 this inning. He's a big guy, but he really seems to be real smooth in his delivery, Tom. He's got a kind of a fast arm action, but everything else is real deliberate leading up to that.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's part of what adds to the deception a little bit, is he looks so nice and easy, and all of a sudden, wham, there it is.
Right down the line, but fair. And that's 2 down. Begging for that one to go foul, but it wouldn't. Ken struck out his first time up. That ended the first inning. Braves have only hit 1 ball to the outfield so far, and that was the line drive by Hayward to right in the 2nd inning. Sure making it look easy, pitching with a 5-run lead.
Yeah, he is. He looks like he's unfortunately finding his rhythm a little bit.
Off Brian's foot. Shin, thank you.
Yeah, started with a hard fastball in and a backdoor cutter, and then threw him a cutter right where he started that first fastball, and looked good to Brian, but the end result didn't feel too good.
That shin will feel like a hamburger tomorrow. ball and 2 strikes. I don't blame you for being a little reluctant to even swing.
See, I never had to worry about that much. With all those balls I hit down the third base line, I never pulled too many off my foot.
No, but there are a lot of people ducking for cover behind the
Yeah, I heard a
dugout
lot
over
of
there.
people over there, that's for sure.
Two and two. Just outside, full count. Braves looking for their first hit. And that's long but foul. Edwin Rodriguez took over last June 23rd. His record right at 500 since then when he took over for Freddie Gonzalez. He's 51 and 51. Another good cut by Bryant. He's still alive. Rodriguez, a highly respected manager in their minor league system. When he was appointed the skipper of the big league club, he was managing at AAA. And Bryan draws a hard-earned walk.
Good at bat.
Only the second base runner for Atlanta. The other was a 2-out walk to Chipper in the first inning. And Dan Uggla, who had a good at bat leading off the second before lining out to third, steps in. Johnson 4-3 against the Braves in his career. You mentioned those last 3 starts he's had, and they've lost them all to the Braves, Tommy, but he's always pitched well in this ballpark. 7 games here, a 1-0 record with a 1.76 ERA at Turner Field.
Yeah, there's something about the mound and the surroundings and everything here that he's comfortable in. He's pitched some darn good ball games here, and unfortunately tonight's shaping up to be another one.
0-2 to Uggla.
See if he follows that 0-2 semi-waist slider with one here a little bit closer to the plate.
It was interesting before spring training, or right around spring training of last year, Marlins were drawing a lot of heat from Players Association, from Major League Baseball, about some of their revenue sharing money, and where was it going? Was it going into players? Were they stocking their farm system? And right after they were criticized for that, as Uggla skies that one to center, they came up with a 4-year deal for Johnson at $39 million. He's in the second year of that, and he's got a no-hitter through 4. And leads 5-0. Freeman at first base. Another good scoop on a double play in the first inning to complete the double play. Boy, it's nice for these infielders, isn't it, Tommy, when you got a guy over there who can handle the glove?
Yes, it is. I'll tell you what, there's less concern about where you're throwing the ball, and you know, more aggressiveness to try to get the ball over there quickly, knowing that Freddie's going to, you know, most of the time if the throw's a little offline or in the dirt, he's going to pick them up. And I'll tell you what, Braves fans, I don't know what Freddie's going to hit this year or how many runs he's going to drive in, and we're going to have the comparisons to what the first baseman did last year. But he's going to save about 50 runs over there defensively.
I agree. Heart of the order for the Marlins: Infante, Ramirez, and Stanton. Omar's 0 for 2 tonight and 0 for 6 in the series. Omar made the All-Star team last year, you may remember.
As he should have.
Yep. And while the Marlins, in terms of quotes and comments about the trade of Dan Uggla and how sorry they were to see him go, I remember reading one from Wes Helms, a former Brave, who said, but knowing that you're getting an all-star second baseman to come in and take his place, that kind of eases the pain. Yeah, I know what a good player Omar is.
I think that's one of those trades that works out well for both clubs. I mean, obviously they're two different type players, but I don't think you're going to find anybody on the Marlins that are disappointed in Omar Infante.
And the Marlins got Mike Dunn in the deal too, who's on their staff. Hard throwing lefty. 2-2. In between hop, Alex charges and makes it. 1 out. And fans, here's an energy saving tip from Georgia Power. Have your heating and cooling system professionally serviced. For more energy saving tips, visit georgiapower.com. Hanley Ramirez drove in a run with a base hit, drove in the first run of the game back in the first inning. It's 1 for 2. That's right off the end of the bat, and another in between hop handled by Freeman this time. That's 7 in a row set down since the home run by Morrison. He's getting the ground balls, but he's getting them hit at people now.
Yeah, now they're finding their way into the gloves instead of finding their way into the holes.
Stanton hit into the double play in the first. He's also grounded out both times to Gonzalez at short. Just 65 pitches for Hudson. 2 out in the 5th. This guy's got to be intimidating, though, with his size and strength and bat speed.
There are some big boys. I don't think this is a team you want to have a bench clearing brawl with.
Good pitch there, running in on him.
Yeah, it's a tough pitch to hit right there. That looks like it's in the strike zone for a long time, and when you make the move to go get it, it's in your hands, and there's nothing you can do with it.
Came in there again, full count. Out of play.
See, even that pitch right there, like I was talking about earlier in the game, where he's not quite hitting his location away because he doubled up on him inside and got him conscious in there a little bit. That pitch right there probably caught, I know it caught more of the plate than Huddy wanted, but he was able to get away with it, whereas early in the game he didn't get away with that.
And got him to chase upstairs there. And that's 8 in a row set down since the home run by Morrison. Well, we go to the bottom of the 5th, 5-0 Florida. Five 0 Florida, heading to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Time for our Zaxby's indescribably good plays, and those plays are pitches from Josh Johnson. He's been good tonight.
Yes, and that, like we talked about in the open, that hard fastball, that hard slider. You know, that right there is a case where you're cheating to get to his fastball, and he throws you a slider, and there isn't anything you can do with it. And it's just been everything we talked about in the open, and unfortunately for the Braves, you know, Huddy's been a little bit off his game tonight, but still a long way to go. He's got a no-hitter going.
Yes,
there, I jinxed him.
There you go.
There we go.
He had a 6-inning no-hitter working opening day against the Mets and gave up a single leading off the 7th. 0-1 to Jason Hayward, who had a rocket to right field his first time up, but right at Stanton. That might be trouble. Oh, snow cone. Big little long arms of the guy 6'7", makes the play himself.
That's where the 1,001 times that you do that on a backfield in spring training comes into play. That's the pitcher's ball all the way if you can get to it. Continue on your way to first base, and did it just like that 1,000 times in spring training.
The old one assisted.
Probably had a couple snow cones too.
Alex Gonzalez struck out his first time up. If the Braves do get something going here with one out and Hudson's spot comes up in the order, we'll see what happens. Christian Martinez is beginning to loosen up in the pen. 3-0.
With Huddy's low pitch count, had the Braves not gotten a strong outing last night, this could be the kind of game where Freddie would just let him go. But where they got their strong outing out of Hansen last night, the bullpen's fresh.
Three and one. So you're saying the guys in the pen are fresh tonight, and you can give you some innings.
Yes.
In the air. Stanton will take it. 2 down. Well, it took a couple of innings, but Tim has found some rhythm. He's retired 8 in a row. And 11 of the last 12.
And if I were him, I'd be on the bench right now in Freddie's ear saying, come on, Freddie, with 2 outs and 1 guy on, just let me hit. And Give me a couple more innings to see what can happen with this thing.
Freddie fights one off. Freddie Freeman, that is. He grounded out his first time up. He's hit in 5 straight, and Matt Young has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle. He is dealing, folks. 3 up and 3 down go the Braves. They're still without a hit. Play 5.
Hard blast of the game, and coming up in the 3rd inning off the bat of Logan Morrison. Backdoor slider that caught a little bit too much of the plate and was to Logan's liking, and he deposited it in the right field bleachers.
Ball really jumped off his bat, and he leads off the 6th inning with a shot to center, but Nate McLouth is there, and that's 9 in a row set down by Hudson. Gabby Sanchez, the batter. He's 1 for 2. He has scored a run. Marlins have 7 hits, but the last hit was the homer by Morrison in the 3rd. Sanchez finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting last year, but he led all rookies in the majors in RBIs and total bases, led National League rookies in hits, and was 3rd in homers. Really good numbers. But he was up against the likes of Buster Posey, Jason Hayward, and Jaime Garcia of the Cardinals, who all finished ahead of him in the voting. And some of that, Tom, had to be the fact that he plays in Florida and doesn't have a whole lot of fan attention down there and not much press coverage.
Well, absolutely it is. And, you know, it's too bad for him. And most years, that's a Rookie of the Year, no questions asked. But with last year's rookie crop, you know, he certainly had a lot of competition. And you know, I don't think that playing in that Florida market, like I say, where not many people get to see him and he don't become a household name, that certainly doesn't help his chances any.
Greg Dobbs is 1 for 2. Singleton scored in the 2nd. Marlins got a run in the 1st, 3 in the 2nd, when they put together 4 hits, all singles. And had the solo homer from Morrison we just showed you. Tim Hudson's on a roll of his own right now. He's set down 10 in a row, and he's due up first in the bottom of the 6th.
Seems like that side of the plate is really what's been his struggle today. It seems like when he gets the ball on the corner or close to it, it doesn't have the sink, and then when he throws it in there and it sinks, it's moving back over the plate, and he just hasn't been able to pinpoint it. I don't know if he's pulling off a little bit going that way, trying to make sure he gets it in there, or if he's feeling a little bit too strong. You know, sometimes that's a sinker baller's worst enemy when you feel too good.
3-1 pitch is fouled out of play. Full count.
But like you said, he's retired, what, 10 in a row, so at least mentally he's going to have something to feel good about going into his bullpen sessions.
Just missed there. And Dobbs wasn't even sure. He waited a long time to see if Mark Wegner was going to ring him up. Second walk for Hudson, but the other one was an intentional walk.
Mark Wegner was a part of a interesting call in Boston the other night with the Red Sox-Yankees game when he called the, did you see it, where he called the, they had bases loaded, I think, and nobody out, ground ball to second, and run scored, and he called everybody, he called a double play and put the runners back for Youkilis not sliding properly into the bag, I guess, with the rash of second baseman getting run over. They're putting a little bit more of an emphasis on that slide into second.
I'm sure that was well received.
Yeah, went over like a lead balloon.
John Buck has drawn the intentional pass and grounded out, and a comebacker should end the inning. Hudson gets him, strands a runner, and we'll see what happens when he's due to lead off in the bottom half of the inning. 5-0 Florida. And the train. Ice in the veins of Alex Gonzalez on this rocket that was hit at him. Off the bat of Mike Stanton. Freeze it. And handled it without any problems. That's Coors Light Freeze Can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Just my beer.
It just amazes me how, like I said, he probably didn't have a choice, but he was just so, I got this, no problem.
Very nonchalant about it. Well, Tim Hudson's night is over as Matt Young will pinch hit for him. He takes high.
Well, like I said, certainly not what Huddy was looking for tonight, but he's at least got some momentum at the back end, can work on some things.
Young 1 for 7. Slashes that foul. 1 and 2. Good cut there. Matt looking for his first hit at Turner Field. His first major league hit came in Milwaukee on the road trip. Two and 2. The 85th pitch for Johnson. Rolled slowly to Infante. 1 out. Some news and notes around baseball. Certainly some big news out on the West Coast today, as the jury found Barry Bonds guilty of one charge of obstruction of justice, but a mistrial on the other counts of perjury. And I guess his defense team has asked the judge to throw out even this guilty verdict.
So that interesting case is getting more interesting by the moment.
One of your old teammates, Carlos Delgado, officially retired. I thought he retired last year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I never did get the official, I guess, retirement, but because the guy retires, we don't have a picture of him? I mean, what's going on there?
He's gone. He's out.
He's out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin sends a hot shot foul down the first base line. That even ate up the ball boy down the right field line.
Now, how about Josh Hamilton? What's your take on that?
I was disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed that he got hurt, of course, but disappointed that he threw his third base coach under the bus. Another tapper back to the mound. 2 down. I mean, it wasn't like the third base coach ordered him to go and he had to go. He's a big boy and kind of got to rely on instincts there.
Yeah, to me, it's probably caught a little bit by surprise watching the play and not realizing that there wasn't anybody covering home plate, which that's the pitcher's fault, the first baseman's fault, and any number of guys on the infield for not recognizing that too. But to me, the bigger thing is haven't heard anybody really address the fact that don't be diving into home plate. I mean, it's not a good idea diving into any base, but particularly home plate. Nothing good seems to happen when guys dive into home plate.
Nothing very good can come out of that, even if you think that it's an easy way to dodge a tag.
Yeah, which is what he was saying, and I would think with all the practice these guys have in sliding, they can slide past and reach back with your hand like you see so many guys do. And didn't Furcal break his thumb diving into a bag too?
And if you remember, Rafael injured his shoulder as a young player with the Braves, sliding in at second base at Fenway Park. Head first, dislocated shoulder.
So here's our lesson for the youngsters out there. Slide, don't dive.
1 is outside, and the base runner for the Braves on another walk. That's the third of the night. And it'll bring up Chipper, who walked in the first and grounded out in the fourth. Got to look at Freddie Gonzalez down at the far end of the dugout for the Braves. That's a good sign. I mean, he learned a lot of things from Bobby Cox, and one of them is you don't have any hits, change spots.
Change the mojo.
Yeah.
Hey, break up the no-hitter, get your 1,500th RBI, and make a game of this thing.
Get the Braves right back in it. The Marlins, in their brief history, as you look at the pitch count for Johnson, they've already got 4 no-hitters thrown. Al Leiter back in May of '96. Kevin Brown, June of '97. A.J. Burnett threw one against the Padres. He walked 9 or 10 guys, I think, in that one, but still threw a no-hitter back in 2001. Whoa. Almost picked off Terry Pendleton.
Tell you what, he had Nate going the wrong way, but almost killed TP.
Anibal Sanchez hit the 4th no-hitter for the Marlins in September of '06. 2 out.
It's one of those funny things of baseball. They haven't been around all that long, relatively speaking, and 4 no-hitters, and then you look at an organization like the Mets with all the pitching they've had, and they still don't have one.
Out of play. One and 2 the count to Chipper. Brian McCann would be next. '94 on the corner. Strikeout number 7. He's still got a no-hitter, and he still leads 5-0. Kroger, by the Home Depot, by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by Joel and Associates, and by Blimpie. We go to the 7th time for our AT&T U-verse game summary. Go, Tom.
Isn't this what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, you don't like the looks of that, I know. Way too many Marlin hats, huh?
That's not good.
But Josh Johnson, the story so far tonight, he's got a no-hitter through 6 innings. And time now for an AT&T call to the bullpen, and Christian Martinez will be the first one out of the pen tonight in relief of Tim Hudson, who went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits and 5 runs. He walked 2. One of those was intentional. Struck out 2, had a wild pitch, and also gave up a home run. And Josh Johnson will hit for himself.
Well, this is the 3rd team in the East the Braves have seen. We'll see another one this weekend, and if the folks don't know it by now, there's some pretty darn good pitching in this division.
And then they get to go out west and take on the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres, and there's a few arms out there too.
Yeah.
It's a tough month. Here's our Delta Airlines on deck, and that's the top of the order, and Chris Coughlin, who's had a good night. Oh, what a cut. 2-2.
It's a little ambitious cut for 5-0 lead and a no-hitter in the 7th inning.
Might pull something. Takes a seat. Christian Martinez fans his first batter. Christian, he's in his 4th game and a 3.60 ERA. Two walks, 3 strikeouts in 5 1/3 innings now.
Would it be fair to say that he was maybe the surprise guy in spring training that came out of there? But I know he was here last year, but I didn't hear much talk about him going into spring training. And boy, when I went down there the 2nd week in March, that's all everybody was talking about, was how well he was throwing the ball.
Nobody could hit him, and he really only had 1 bad outing, and that was right at the end of spring training. And he was just kind of brushed off like, yeah, okay, well, everybody's going to have 1, but Christian's been so good all spring. He's the guy. Out of play 0-2.
And what everybody seems to love is attitude / makeup. He's kind of got that in a good way, that I don't care attitude. He doesn't care who he's facing. He wants the ball. He goes out there. He doesn't care if he has a bad outing. He wants the ball again the next time. And you know, those are the kinds of guys you need out there. The guys that aren't afraid to take the ball and have a short memory when they have a bad game.
Sits in the low 90s with his fastball, has a slider, and he's got a bit of a rubber arm. He can pitch in a lot of different situations. Get 1 out for you. He can come in and work 2, 3, 4 innings or spot start if you need him to. Off the end of the bat, that's trouble. Martin on the run, can't get there. Coughlin's going to try to go to second. Prado recovers and throws it right on the money. Coughlin got the base hit, and then he tried to make something out of nothing. And our Toyota play of the game is a nice recovery here by Martin Prado.
It's a good, solid play from a guy who doesn't have a whole lot of experience out there in the outfield. He actually got a pretty good jump on that ball.
Freddie says he thinks if he's not already, is one of the best left fielders in the National League, if not all of baseball. He's adjusted that well.
I'm sure if he's not, he will be by the end of the year, knowing how hard he works at everything.
Another flare off the handle, but this one's right to Ugla in a 1-2-3 inning for Christian Martinez. 7th inning stretch time. Braves looking for their first hit, down 5. SunTrust, by AT&T Uverse, by McDonald's, by Toyota, and by Georgia Power. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Braves down 5-0, still trying to get their first hit. Here's our Jameson Inn upcoming schedule. And the finale of this 3-game series tomorrow. Ricky Nolasco and Brandon Beachy hook up. Beachy looking for his first big league win. Has pitched real well. Nolasco last year had a tremendous year for the Marlins, and he's off to a good start this year.
Another good matchup.
And Brian McCann will start things for the Braves here in the 7th. Another tapper and another easy play for Sanchez. He's had a few of those tonight. And as Johnson closes in on 100 pitches, he's at 99 right now. Laser Baker looked it up for us, and he's gone over 102 pitches in 16 of his last 20 starts. But in 9 of those, he's thrown 115 or more.
Well,
he's going to throw no working.
If he's going to throw a no-hitter, he's throwing 130 pitches. Which, for a young manager, this is not the position he wants to be in.
Not comfortable. Uggla's lined out, flied out. Man, you got to get ready for, as you said, Tom, for that 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, and then the slider is just gone before you can stop your swing.
The only chance you have on that slider is if he leaves it in the heart of the plate, and then you might catch the head of the bat.
Strikeout number 8 for him. And this ties the longest he has gone without allowing a hit. It goes back to August of 09 against Colorado when he went 6 2/3. Ryan Webb, though, is loosening up in the Florida bullpen. Here's Hayward. He is lined out and hit a little slow roller along the first base line that was grabbed by Johnson.
Tell you what, if he gets Jason out here quickly, he's giving himself a chance.
Not any deep counts.
No.
I mean, there's been some walks. This is the 8th pitch of the inning right here. And it's a good one. And that's 9 strikeouts, and he's still holding the Braves hitless.
Yep.
Okay.
He's saying, son, would you make this easy for me and tell me you've got like a headache or something?
Your elbow's tightening up.
No, he didn't want to hear that.
And look at this. You can just read Josh's lips as, I'm okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm fine. Now get out of here. Nobody's been talking to me the whole game because I have a no-hitter, and I don't want you talking to me either.
Hanley Ramirez leads off the 8th, 1 for 3 tonight.
I think what's going to make it even tougher is I think that was his most dominating inning of the game. So it's not like he's losing anything.
I think what'll make it tough is if he walks Gonzalez to lead off the inning, or a couple of guys get on and he still hasn't given up a hit. And the manager has to be concerned more about the game and not the no-hitter. Hanley Ramirez. He'll be followed by Stanton and then Morrison. He walked Chipper in the first. He walked McCann in the fourth. And he walked McLouth in the sixth. And Ramirez draws a walk to start the 8th. Stanton's 0 for 3 tonight, but he's hit the ball hard twice. Good breaking ball. High drive to left. Prado goes back at the wall. He's run out of rooms, but he's got room, but he got just enough room to make the catch. Ballpark was just big enough for Christian Martinez to record that out.
Yeah, I thought he hit it too high off the bat, but it just seemed to keep going and going. And see, when Martin gets a little bit more comfortable out there, he'll only make one, maybe two turns on that ball instead of two or three.
Was way up there. He had plenty of time to find the wall and readjust. Morrison's 1 for 3. He homered off Hudson in the third inning. His third of the year. Might be two. Ugla to Gonzalez. Quick turn. Beautiful. 4-6-3. Bottom of the 8th, bottom part of the order for the Braves against Josh Johnson, who has a no-hitter working. Well, almost a year to the day here at Turner Field, we saw another no-hitter thrown, and this one by Ubaldo Jimenez, the first one in Rockies history. He was having trouble with his control early on out of the windup. He walked 6 batters in all, and then in the 5th inning he went to the stretch. That worked well for him from control standpoint. And then in the 7th, Dexter Fowler out of Milton High School turned in this gem of a play off the bat of Troy Gloss. Brian McCann rolled out for the last out. And Jimenez on April 17th last year had a no-no. And so far tonight, Josh Johnson, a no-hitter through 7. Another comebacker. Johnson and Gabby Sanchez have been playing catch all night. One defensive change for the Fish. Here in the 8th, Scott Cousins takes over in right. Freddie Freeman is grounded out and struck out.
Here's the guy right here. Base hit, left center field.
And Eric Hinsky's come out on deck. It's a hit for Martinez. A little off on that one.
Yeah.
Might have been that changeup with the split finger grip. We haven't seen that much tonight. He hadn't needed it.
Hasn't needed it. No, 2 pitches have been just fine.
Off the fist, base hit. There goes a no-hitter, and Freddie is going for 2, and he'll make it. Seven and a third innings. A no-hit ball for Johnson, and now let's see how long Edwin Rodriguez goes with him as Hanley Ramirez comes in to give him the baseball. You called it, Tommy.
Well, it wasn't quite a line drive to left center field, but it was on the left side of the diamond anyway. But good for Freddie, and hopefully a start of something for the Braves.
109 pitches for Josh Johnson. But that's going to end his night after giving up his first hit. He was brilliant tonight. And the fans in Atlanta give him a nice hand. Pitching change for the Marlins. We'll be right back. Performance, and that's pretty obvious who it goes to tonight.
Well, pretty dominant like we talked about in the open. You see that hard slider that we talked about to strike guys out with, and if you're throwing 94, 95, you got to cheat to get to that fastball, and that slider becomes virtually unhittable. And see, Ugla and Gonzalez both had a tough time with it, and even in tight on the left-handers of Jason Hayward. And one of the few times he missed today was the fastball down the middle of the chipper for his first strikeout of the year, and I think he was so caught off guard that he threw it down the middle he couldn't swing at it.
Well, they bring in Ryan Webb, who's a hard thrower in his own right and a big guy, 6'6", 230 out of Clearwater, Florida, lives now in Palm Harbor, Florida. They got him from the Padres in the deal that sent Cameron Maben to San Diego. Florida got Mojica and Webb in that deal to fortify their bullpen. Here's Hinsky to pinch hit. Goes right after the first pitch and fouls it back. Hinsky looking for his first hit of the year. He's 0 for 7 so far. Webb's dad, Hank Webb, pitched in the big leagues for a couple of different teams, including the Mets. Their bullpen, Tom, last year was their weakest link, and they did some really good things in the offseason to fortify it, and they're the second-ranked bullpen in the league in ERA.
Yeah, it was a glaring weakness for them last year, and they certainly went out this winter with that in mind to shore it up a little bit, and so far they've done a pretty nice job here early on.
1-2 to Hinsky. That's fought off foul down the left side. Webb throws hard. He's got a hard sinker and slider. Seven. I don't think Eric thought that one came back. Let's see.
Oh yeah,
it was there.
That was inner third.
Back to the top of the order in Prado, who was 0 for 3 against Johnson. Then so was everybody else except for Freddie Freeman.
Took a little off for strike one there, 94.
Now, everybody they added can bring it. This guy, we saw Mojica last night, who's got a real nasty split finger pitch. They got Leo Nunez to close. They got Mike Dunn from the Braves, who can throw in the mid-90s. And at 6'7", he didn't have any trouble hauling that one in. Braves get a hit, leave a runner. We go to the ninth. Still 5-0 Fish. Innings, Braves on the short end of a 5-0 score, and time for another AT&T call to the bullpen by Freddie Gonzalez. And in the ninth, it'll be George Sherrill. Sherrill's in his 5th game, an inning and 2/3 total in those first 4. 2 hits, 2 runs, and 3 walks. Sanchez, Dobbs, and Buck due up. Gabby Sanchez 1 for 3 tonight. Tom and I'll be back with you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Brandon Beachy against Ricky Nolasco. Peachtree TV here in the Atlanta metro area, and Fox Sports South outside the Atlanta viewing area. George Sherrill, a good story, a guy who's had a lot of success pitching in the big leagues and closing games, especially when he was with Baltimore, but he spent 5 years pitching in independent leagues from 1999 to 2003. That one's hooked foul. Pitched in Evansville, Winnipeg, and Sioux Falls.
That's some determination there.
Yeah, it is.
5 years in those leagues.
He'll be 34 in a week. Gabby just a bit tardy on that one. Breaking ball pulled foul into the upper deck.
That's about as opposite end of the spectrum foul balls.
Yeah.
Consecutive swings as you're going to get.
Yeah. Slowly hit to Gonzalez. 1 out in the ninth. Well, we got half of it right. I mean, we're talking about a pitching matchup tonight, and Johnson certainly filled the bill.
Yeah, he upheld his end of the bargain, no question about it, and did a lot of the things that we talked about, and showed why he's so highly regarded as one of the young studs in baseball right now. And, you know, for Huddy, it was just a matter of just being off a little bit, and the mistakes he made, he didn't get away with them. And, you know, I know he's going to be disappointed in the way he pitched, certainly with all the lead up coming into this game, but he'll be fine.
And especially the way he calmed down, I'll say, and got into a groove at the end of his outing. Shutting down 11 of the last 12 he faced. This is Donnie Murphy. He's hitting for Dobbs. Murphy's had some starts. Six with a double.
Imagine that, he's got a double.
Can't play for their team if you don't. Popped him up. Might stay in play for Freeman. near the tarp. He's got it. John Buck will be the batter. Buck was involved in one of the key plays in the second inning. He was walked to load the bases with one out to pitch to Josh Johnson, the pitcher, who on the next pitch bounced a base hit through the hole on the right side. That plated a run, and then Chris Coughlin followed with a base hit that drove in two. He got jammed there. Good pitch from Sherrill as Freeman calls off McCann and makes a nice play to end the inning. George Sherrill has a nice 1-2-3 ninth. We go to the bottom of the ninth. McLeod, Chipper, and McCann do up. Inning. Here's our Academy Sports and Outdoors game summary. Florida scored early, and they have made that stand up for Josh Johnson as he had a no-hitter going into the 8th inning. Broken up by Freddie Freeman with one out in the 8th. And the new pitcher is left-hander Randy Choate, who will work the 9th. He's not their closer, but this is not a safe situation. Another guy, Tom, they acquired in the offseason to fortify their bullpen, and he was in 85 games last year for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, led the American League in appearances, and I was going to say, he's not their closer, but he might be their Iron Man. I mean, led the American League in appearances last year, and, you know, that's an important kind of guy to have in your bullpen. You get 80, 85 games out of somebody, and you're eating up some innings.
Kind of like their version of Peter Moylan. Nate McLeod 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Johnny Murphy stays in the game to play third base after pinch hitting for Dobbs. Sidearm to Choate. Knocks Nate off the plate. Choate, 35 years old, 6'1", 210. Baseball at Florida State.
It's a little bit of a different look than Nate's seen all night.
Yeah. Fouled off of Nate's foot, 2-1.
And normally you could tell a guy, hey, we're gonna go from 94, 95 with a nasty slider to a guy throwing 85, and you might think, oh, okay. Guys coming from every angle known to man.
Going to need some rally caps here, down by 5. Braves shut out the Marlins last night 5-0. 2-2. Ran that one in on him, tie him up.
Nasty pitch, nothing you can do with that. That's the kind of pitch right here that you're going after it, and as you're starting your swing, you're almost thinking, please don't make contact, because that shin guard that he's gone on is going to come into play if he makes contact.
Chipper switches around to bat right-handed. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Off his thumbs down the first base line, but foul. Checking his bat, see if he broke it. He did. Suffered his first strikeout of the year. His last time up, called out on strikes. The 0-1. Count even. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Marlins. Only 1 hit after the 3rd inning. And that was Coughlin when he was thrown out trying to stretch a hit into a double.
Yeah, all the damage, all the excitement was early. Josh Johnson stayed in his groove. Huddy found his a little bit, but Josh Johnson was pretty darn good tonight.
Swung on and driven deep to center.
1,500.
Back goes Coughlin. That's number 1,500 on the RBI count. Do it in style.
I was just thinking, you know, why not? Home run, send everybody home with a little bit of a good feeling, but, you know, I didn't want to push my luck. Calling another play, you know. So I should have. That's what I get.
First home run of the year and a standing ovation. Sure, you'd like to get that baseball back.
Well, knowing the Braves clubhouse staff, somebody is well on their way right now. And it's going to cost them a little bit to get that one back.
Yeah. Oh, 2 to McCann. Chipper joined some select company. The only other 2 switch hitters with that many RBIs, Mickey Mantle and Eddie Murray. And Chipper's only 9 behind Mickey Mantle. Max stays alive. Here's the homer.
Chipper's happy zone. Middle up. Just put a real good swing on it. I mean, it's nice to see him hit a ball out there and get it out of the ballpark. That'll feel good for him. It's certainly a good sign.
I think he's swinging the bat as well as he has the last 2 or 3 years. The 0-2 to McCann. Got him looking. We were talking about Josh Johnson and the rehab work he was doing and what it did for him when he felt like, hey, I wasn't in good shape. But rehab helped him get in good shape. You might say the same thing. We'd have to ask Chipper about his rehab for his knee.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gave him more time to work out, that's for sure. I mean, you know, the winter's so compressed as it is for guys. It's, you know, it's tough to get into that routine where you want to take a little bit of time off and let your body recoup and then start hitting it hard again. And, you know, so for Chipper, theoretically, he had 2 extra months. You know, 2 extra months to do some things. And, you know, it'd be interesting to hear if he feels like he's in a little bit better shape this year because of that. I mean, I know he's going to be a little limited because of what he could do with his knee, but pretty good company there, and the guy down below is pretty good company too.
Not bad. He's already got more hits than Mickey. And he'll pass him in RBIs. He's about 100 behind him in homers.
Well, he's had a heck of a career. It doesn't look like he's done, so, which is a great sign for the Braves.
Remember, he was doing it with a new bat too. Like he broke his bat on that foul ball down the line. Count 3-2. I'm not sure that he thought that bat was broken that he gave back to the bat boy and wanted to check and make sure before he lost it to make sure it was cracked.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that he was too sure, but he didn't want to take any chances with it, and good thing he didn't.
Right. Payoff pitch to Ugla. Out of play. Braves down to their last out, trailing 5-1. They have only 2 hits. The double by Freeman in the 8th. Homer by Chipper here in the 9th. That produced his 1,500th RBI.
See if we can get Dan to get a base hit here. Get the monkey off his back against the lefties.
To right, slicing. But a nice play by Cousins, and that'll do it. The Marlins bounce back from their shutout that they suffered last night and beat the Braves tonight 5-1. Tommy and I'll be back to wrap it up after this.